but it's not good enough. You know, he would ask me to do things and ask me to be a certain way or ask me to fix a situation or ask me.
As the sun sank low over Flagstaff, its golden hue cast long trembling shadows across a porch that used to echo with the laughter of a large, chaotic family. Cody Brown stood alone. The breeze, once warm and inviting, now felt cold, like judgment, brushing past his face. The house once filled with children's footsteps. Robyn's whispered assurances, the bustle of a shared dream, was hollow now. A shell, and so was he. In his trembling hands was a stack of legal documents that felt hotter than fire. A cruel irony, considering they had arrived so coldly by certified mail. No warning, no conversation. It's just betrayal, professionally delivered. Aurora Sullivan Brown was suing him. How did we get here? Cody muttered, almost to himself, as if saying it aloud might wake him from the nightmare. The lawsuit wasn't vague. It was direct, brutal, accusing Cody of property mismanagement, breach of fiduciary duty, and destruction of value. The property, a parcel of land on Coyote Pass worth nearly $500,000. The same land Robyn had once begged Cody to secure in Aurora's name. It's for her future, Cody, Robyn had whispered back in 2020, tears in her eyes. Just sign. It's a formality. You're her father now. Back then, Cody didn't hesitate. He was a man drunk on love and loyalty. He didn't read the fine print. He didn't question the trust. He never imagined that signature would be the knife she used years later. Now, that same daughter, Aurora, backed by a team of attorneys, was taking him to court. Not asking for clarity, not requesting a correction, suing publicly, aggressively, unapologetically, and worse. Her name was the only one on the deed. It wasn't protection, Cody whispered, staring at the kitchen island. It was a trap. The sound of the paper brushing against itself as he turned each page felt deafening in the silence of his home. His legs buckled and he leaned on the counter to steady himself. There were no kids running in the background, no Mary's sarcasm, no Janelle's quiet wisdom. Christine was long gone, and Robyn, she was still in the bedroom, silent, but Cody couldn't stay quiet. "Robyn!" he shouted, his voice cracking. "What the hell did you do to me?" She entered, eyes red from crying, but he didn't care anymore. His voice was no longer laced with patience or pleading, it was raw fury. "You said it was to keep her safe. You begged me to sign. Said it was about love, about being her father. She's suing me. You never told me I'd be held liable. You never said I'd have no rights." Robyn sobbed harder. "Cody, you wanted to be her dad. I didn't trick you. I did what any mother would do. Don't you dare call this motherly love," he roared. "You used me. You used her. This was never about Aurora. It was about you. About your damn security blanket. About funneling everything into your side of the family. And you made me the villain." Narrator voice, quiet and haunting. The shouting didn't end there. Explosion between them was so violent that, according to insiders, TLC producers were forced to shut down filming for the day. But even as the cameras stopped, the audio did not. The boom mic captured the moment. That would change everything if I had known. Cody growled through clenched teeth. "I would never have signed those papers. If I had known Aurora was going to sue me, if I had known you were orchestrating this, I would have run." And then, silence, later. Through her lawyer, Aurora released a sterile, cold statement. "This is not about emotion. This is about protecting what was promised to me. I love my family, but I also have to do what is right." But the internet wasn't buying it. Fans exploded in outrage. Aurora, once the quiet daughter protected from the chaos, was now seen as a legal missile aimed at Cody and behind her. The shadow of Robyn loomed. Mary and Janelle finally broke their silence. During a quiet Instagram live, Mary said calmly, "You watch someone build a world out of lies, and you hope it doesn't crush them. But when it starts crushing others, that's no longer a fantasy. That's betrayal." Janelle was more direct. In her post-interview for the new Breaking Free series, she stared dead into the camera. Robyn's been playing chess, she said flatly. The rest of us were just playing house. And then, almost with amusement, she added, poetic, isn't it? Cody gave everything up for Robyn, and now it's her daughter who's coming for what's left. Narrator voice, somber, reflective. Christine's daughter, Isabel, shared a now-viral TikTok that further drove the nail into the coffin. We all gave something up for this family dream, she said. Turns out only one household was actually dreaming. And then there was Cody Brown, the once proud patriarch, now broken, alone. In a devastating sit-down interview, his eyes were vacant, hair unkempt. His voice was soft, almost unrecognizable. I don't know who I am anymore, he whispered. I thought I was building a legacy, something real, something lasting. He paused as if gathering the words from the ashes of his belief. Robyn was supposed to be my refuge, my anchor, but she's the one who threw me overboard. Then came the final gut punch. I sacrificed everything for her. I let my other wives go. I let my kids drift. I thought I was doing the right thing, and now the daughter I raised is suing me in court. A long pause followed. He looked away, then back. Of all the ironies, this one cuts the deepest.
I always felt like I needed to do something to earn love or earn acceptance, or I had to.
TLC slammed the brakes. Every ongoing project tied to the Brown family was placed on indefinite hold. No more filming, no more spin-offs, no more redemption arcs. The chaos had gone too far even for reality television. Aurora's lawsuit wasn't. Just shocking, it was radioactive. And now, with the possibility of Cody Brown being held both legally and financially accountable for the alleged mismanagement of hundreds of thousands of dollars, TLC wanted out. And just like that, the spotlight died. Robyn Brown, who for years had played the quiet puppeteer behind the scenes, was suddenly left in the dark, alone, exposed, vulnerable. Her once saintly image so carefully curated through tears, tilted heads and whispered victimhood, had been reduced to ash. And in that silence, the truth began to echo. While Robyn's world collapsed, Janelle and Christine were rising not in revenge, but in revelation. They were co-authoring something bold, raw, and long overdue. Escape the Brown illusion, legal battles, lies, and love. It wasn't a memoir. It was a declaration, a reckoning. It promised unfiltered truths, receipts, and emotion that had been buried for far too long. The fans were ready. Meanwhile, the final episode of the halted season painted a bleak, unforgettably haunting image. Cody sat alone on a boulder at Coyote Pass's so-called promised land, the place where he once vowed to build a legacy. Now it looked more like a graveyard. Nothing but dust, wind, and memories. His family gone, his name dragged through the mud, soul unrecognizable even to himself. This was supposed to be the future, he murmured. All I built, all I sacrificed. For what? Back at Robyn's once lavish fortress-like home, the halls no longer echoed with laughter or delusion. What was once her sanctuary now felt like a tomb. Dinner tables sat untouched, holiday plans unspoken. The home that once symbolized safety had become a gilded prison. Robyn rarely left her bedroom. Silence in the house was suffocating, not peaceful, but punishing. Her phone rang constantly. Attorneys, producers, tabloids, distant relatives. Did you really use Aurora to sue Cody? Was this your plan all along? She didn't answer. She couldn't. The mirror had stopped offering comfort. Her eyes, once stained with performative tears, were now hollow pits of regret and unraveling ego. And the silence was pierced by her own children. Brianna couldn't take it anymore. Mom? She asked one evening, voice trembling, is it true? Did you use Aurora to steal Dad's money? Robyn froze. She reached For Brianna's hand, voice shaking. "I was just trying to protect her, sweetheart. It's all I've ever tried to do." But Brianna pulled away, her eyes no longer trusting, her voice edged with something cold. "You said that when you married Dad, too?" Robyn said nothing, because there was nothing left to say. Elsewhere, Christine was seething. She had read the leaked lawsuit cover to cover. Her fury was visible on her face, cheeks flushed, her blonde hair tied back tightly, like she was preparing for war. She called an emergency Zoom with Janelle and Mary. "Enough," she spat. Robyn manipulated everything. Cody's downfall. And now she's walking off with the one thing we all worked for. No way. We're not letting her rewrite history. Janelle nodded slowly, eyes narrowed. "I knew something was off the day she cried in the driveway and said I didn't want this. That's when I knew. She wanted all of it." Christine wasn't just angry, she was mobilized. She hired a top civil litigation attorney and began drafting a formal cease and desist letter against Robyn and her legal team. She demanded a full audit of the Coyote Pass account. The claim that Robyn had used family money to buy property then sneakily deeded it into her children's names, all while pretending to advocate for unity. And then, just when no one expected it, Christine did something that shocked everyone. She said she would testify. On Cody's behalf. He may be a narcissist, she told reporters bluntly. But I'll be damned if Robyn gets to burn everything down and cash the insurance check. It wasn't love. It wasn't forgiveness. It was justice. Christine wasn't siding with Cody. She was standing between Robyn and the last remnants of the family legacy. Back at TLC, the pressure was mounting. Advertisers were pulling out. Fans were boycotting. Sponsors were threatening to drop their contracts unless something changed. So, for the first time in years, the network spoke. "We are reassessing our production plans and are closely monitoring the legal developments surrounding the Brown family. We remain committed to transparency, fairness, and respect for our viewers." But behind closed doors, TLC was crafting something bigger, something final, the last confession. A two-part event. Unfiltered, raw. No scripts, no edits, no escape. Every wife would speak, even Aurora, even Cody, even Robyn alone. For once, the producers would step aside. The tagline said it all. What began as a family ends as a reckoning. And then the children spoke. Hunter, Madison, Gwen. Gabe, they had stayed mostly quiet, but this was different. The betrayal, the court case, the manipulation, it had gone too far. They took to Instagram one by one and unleashed the truth. "She played our dad like a game piece," Hunter wrote. "We gave our childhood to that family, and she turned it into a chessboard," said Madison. Gwen posted a single sentence. "She didn't just break him, she erased him." And Gabe, still in mourning for Garrison, whispered, "You always said you loved us all, so why did it end like this?" But the moment that shattered the internet came from Aurora herself. In a darkened room, she posted a TikTok, her face pale, lips trembling, voice barely audible. "This isn't what I thought it would be. I was told I'd gain something, that this land was mine, but now I don't even know what I believe anymore." Her hand hovered over the camera for a second, her eyes filled with tears. "I think I made a mistake." She disabled comments. But within 48 hours, 8.3 million people had seen it, and the silence in response was louder than any scream. Back at Coyote Pass, Cody returned again. It's a place where he once promised they'd all live in harmony, where each wife would have her plot of land, where the Brown family would build something eternal. Now it was just dust, wind, and regret. He sat on a rock, his boots coated in dirt, his hair grayer, his beard wild and unshaved. He hadn't slept in 2 days. And as the sun set on the empty land, he muttered just one phrase under, his breath so faint it nearly disappeared into the wind. It was never supposed to end like this, There comes a moment in every storm when the wind falls still not, because the storm is over, but because the eye is passed overhead, and in that silence you see the wreckage, the torn walls, the broken glass, the faces of those who stayed and those who ran. This is that moment. For the Brown family, for the ones who loved deeply and were betrayed just as deeply. For the ones who gave everything, years, hearts, children, and were left holding the silence when the cameras stopped rolling. This isn't just about a television show anymore. This isn't about ratings or who looked good on camera. This is about truth finally catching up to the lies. This is about what happens when love becomes control and family becomes currency. This is about a man who built a kingdom of wives and children and watched it collapse because he loved power more than he loved people. And this is about the woman who helped him build it, only to steal it all when no one was watching. Chapter 1. A man with a plan and a smile, Cody Brown was once the charming cowboy of TLC's sister wives, his long blonde hair. His laugh, his unshakable belief that his vision of love was divine. For wives, one family. 18 children, unity, faith, harmony, but behind that image was a different story. One told in tired eyes and quiet resentment. One written in the faces of women who smiled for the camera but cried when the lights went out. They weren't just wives, they were symbols. Pieces on a chessboard he moved when the cameras panned. And in that carefully choreographed dance, a new wife entered the stage. Robyn, she didn't come alone, she came with children. With tears, with stories of abuse and pain. She came like a refugee, vulnerable, fragile, and Cody, ever the rescuer, in his own mind, made her his mission, his cause. And somewhere along the way, she became his favorite. The shift was slow at first, subtle, a hug held too long, a laugh that echoed only for her. Time spent, money shifted. Priorities redrawn. The other wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine, felt it. But how do you accuse a man of favoritism when he says it's all God's plan? But God didn't write those credit card charges. He didn't sign the trust fund reallocation. He didn't whisper to Cody to abandon the emotional needs of his older children while setting up private college accounts for Robyn's kids. No, that wasn't God. That was manipulation. That was power slowly consolidating. That was Robyn, not as a victim, but as an architect. Chapter 2. Mary, Janelle, and Christine, the silent watchers, they stayed. For years, they stayed. Mary, the first. The foundation. She had only one child, and yet she stayed through heartbreaks that would have sent anyone else running. When her legal marriage was dissolved to give Robyn access to Cody's name, she smiled through it. For the sake of the family, for the dream. Janelle, the independent one, financially smart. The one who handled the money when no one else would. She was the quiet engine of the family. The one who made sure bills were paid while Robyn cried about needing more support, and Christine the heart, the warmth. The mother who made birthdays special, who carried so much emotional labor that her spine ached from the weight of it. Each woman had their breaking point, but for years they swallowed it. For the children, for the cameras. For the idea that maybe, just maybe, Cody would see them again. But he didn't, because he wasn't looking at them anymore. He was building something new with Robyn, something exclusive, something monogamous in everything but name, and the wives. They weren't wives anymore. They were obstacles, shadows. Mary watched her marriage crumble in silence. Janelle watched the family finances shift like sand beneath her. Christine, God bless her, was the first to stand and say enough. And when she left, the truth started to leak. Chapter 3. The children, no children, see more than we think. They saw the birthdays Cody missed. The hospital visits skipped. They saw him weep for Robyn's kids, but shrugged off their own pain. They watched their mother's age under stress while Robyn shopped, wept, and whispered that no one understood her. And then, one by one, they spoke up. Gwendolyn Peden, Gabriel Garrison, not just speaking about favoritism, but abandonment. emotional manipulation, a father who punished them with silence, who rewarded obedience with affection, who used love as a tool. And in the middle of that, tragedy struck. Garrison was gone. A son loved deeply by his siblings, loyal to his mother, crushed under the weight of unspoken things. A soul lost in the quiet war between truth and loyalty. His death wasn't just personal, it was a reckoning. At his funeral, something changed. The air itself cracked open. Cody showed up. Robyn stood. Beside him, for the first time, the cameras captured something they never had before. Not just grief, but judgment. Not just sadness, but a quiet, shared fury. Eyes turned toward Cody, not with love, but with blame. For the things said, for the silences that screamed. For the son they couldn't save because the man who called himself a father had made himself a stranger. Chapter 4. The leaked emails. And then the dam broke. Emails, messages, leaks, a hidden digital trail that tore the last mask off. Robyn Brown, it turned out she wasn't just the weeping wife. She was the financial puppeteer. Property transfers, secret accounts, private college funds for her children, while the others were left with nothing. Tax documents, hidden trusts, and perhaps most devastating of all, she had used Aurora, her daughter, as a cover. Emails showed Robyn directing Aurora to forward documents to act as a buffer, to protect her name while orchestrating the slow bleed of the family's shared resources and Cody. He was complicit, or blind. Maybe both. He signed off on things. He ignored warnings. Coy dismissed Janelle's questions. He gaslit Mary's concerns. And when Christine asked too many questions, he turned cold. The story wasn't about love anymore. It was about greed, control, favoritism turned financial abuse. And when the public saw those leaks, when the fans who had once adored the Brown family saw the truth, they turned, not with hate, but with heartbreak. They had believed. And now they felt betrayed too, to be continued. Coming next, in part 2, the courtroom showdown, Robyn's failed public apology, the daughters who broke the silence, Cody's final breakdown, Christine, Janelle and Mary rising from the ashes, and the new series that changed everything. Sometimes the silence screams louder than the lies ever did, and in the days that followed, the silence was deafening. Robyn stayed holed up in the home she once called her sanctuary, blinds drawn, her phone turned off. The woman who had once positioned herself as the heart of the Brown family, its soft voice, its peacekeeper, was now nothing more than a ghost hiding from a truth she could no longer spin. Not in interviews, not on camera, not to her children. The emails leaked were undeniable. They bore her words, her plans, her admissions, manipulations, betrayals, greed dressed as survival. She had claimed she was the protector of her children, that her actions were to give them a better future. But when Aurora found the emails, when she read them out loud to Brianna, trembling, it wasn't safety they felt. It was betrayal. The kind of betrayal that shatters identity. Because if your own mother is willing to emotionally puppet you, use your voice to secure money, houses, inheritance, then what part of your life was ever really your own? Aurora was the first to scream, not with rage, but with grief. You said I was special, Mom. That I was your favorite. But you were just using me. You used me. Robyn couldn't respond. She just sobbed, whispering over and over, I was protecting us. I was protecting us. But the children were no longer small, pliable, or blind. Brianna didn't even speak. She packed a bag and left, went to stay with a friend from school. Aurora followed after smashing a frame with their last family portrait in it. Pieces of glass scattered across the floor, and with them, the final illusion shattered too. Cody's isolation, a man without a kingdom, meanwhile. Cody sat on the front porch of his crumbling empire. Alone, he was no longer the energetic patriarch.